Computer running slow? Has your machine somehow acquired a life of its own? Or do you simply desire a deeper and more meaningful connection? Be one with your operating system. It's Arizona's computer guru, Mike Swanson, and his show starts now. Listen in, chat in, and watch live streaming at gurushow.com. Want your voice to be heard? Call in with your questions and riddles. The number is 520-790-2040. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030, KVOI, The Voice.
Hello and welcome to the Computer Guru Show. My name is Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. 520-790-2040 if you'd like to be part of the show. Give us a call. This is your free hour of tech support for the week. And I'm all alone today. There's nobody here.
Almost all alone.
Well, yeah, you're on the other side of the glass and you don't really participate much, so I'm mostly alone. So give me a call and I can answer your questions. Once again, the phone number 520-790-2040. And happy Memorial Day weekend to you. We're going to be closed on Monday. You get the day off on Monday, Ken?
I'm taking the day off. It was an option. So I'm going to go ahead and take it.
Right on.
Downtime.
So I got to thinking about Memorial Day last night. And so I went down this rabbit hole on Google trying to learn like the origins of Memorial Day. And it's a pretty interesting story. I mean, for a while there, I thought it was simply a way to sell mattresses and used cars. But it turns out that it's got, of course, tragic beginnings. And it all centers around a parade, which was pretty interesting. But at the end of the Civil War, where it's at least the most current numbers I could find said that 750,000 Americans lost their lives in the Civil War. And it's just such an astronomical number to think about. Three quarters of a million people losing their lives in the Civil War. And considering that the total population of the United States was about 1/10 of what it is now, it's about 30 million people in the United States in total. To have nearly 1 out of 10 men die in the Civil War is just huge. I mean, if you were to take that same per capita number and apply it to the Vietnam War, to say, how many people died, American soldiers died, then that wall in Washington, D.C., the Vietnam Memorial, would have 6.4 million names on it, if that were the case. It's huge. It's just gigantic numbers.
Staggering.
And to take a moment to recognize that not only, by the way, is that 750,000 people that died in the Civil War, not only is that a huge number by itself, it is more than half of all soldiers, U.S. soldiers killed in all wars since the inception of this country. It's just a gigantic number.
And you did do some research.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, and you think, how lucky did we get in World War II, right? Where you hit the total casualties in World War II is 60 million people. It's mind-boggling how large a number that is. It's just crazy. So
wow.
And I thought it was very interesting that it was started as a thank you, sort of, to the Civil War soldiers by captives of the South that were saying thank you to everyone that had given their lives as to save them, to free them, to give them humanity. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yep.
And so happy Memorial Day weekend to everyone, and I hope you have an opportunity to go out and do something memorially. All right, let's go ahead and take some calls. Let's talk about computer stuff and nerdy stuff, because that's what we're all about. Hey, Sandy, how are you?
Hi. I do have a question. I need help. My brother, a Vietnam vet, thank goodness he survived, he visited me for a week, and apparently he was a Facebook user, and I'm not.
Okay.
And now that he's gone, I get these pop-up things from Facebook, and I don't know how to get rid of anything because I can't find a Facebook program or anything.
Describe to me these pop-ups.
A little window pops up in the bottom right-hand corner saying, Joe Blow has a message,
So it's a rectangle that pops up down there?
A tiny little window chat thing. And when I do a search on Facebook, there's a whole bunch of, I guess, temporary files and things, but I can't find a program.
Okay.
I don't know how to get rid of it.
So which internet browser do you use?
I use Chrome.
Chrome, okay. So if you're in Chrome and you go to facebook.com.
Okay.
Are you in front of your computer now?
Let me...
Can you be?
I can get plugged in right now.
All right. So...
go ahead.
I'm thinking that if you go to facebook.com, your brother's signed in.
Oh.
And basically all you got to do is sign out.
Oh.
And it'll stop notifying you. So
how do I know if...
So if you go to facebook.com and it doesn't ask you to sign in immediately, then he's signed in. So
okay.
And you should be able to see his name at the top, sort of.
I see the name. I see his
so
name.
you'll click on the name.
Or
I'm sorry, to the right there's like a down arrow. Do you see a little lock symbol and then a down arrow? Do you see that?
I see.
So you click on the little down arrow and then go down to log out.
Oh, is that all?
And that's it, and it'll stop bothering you.
And it doesn't prevent him from logging in back where he lives, back
No.
at his home?
No, but
okay.
But before you log out, you have the opportunity to do something that we do at the office, which is if anyone stays logged into a computer on Facebook at the office, anyone who finds it gets the opportunity to post whatever they want on that person's timeline.
Oh, dear.
So you get to teach him a lesson about not logging out of a machine that he left behind. Just messing with you. just log out and it'll all go away.
Okay, all right. I thank you so much for your help. It was such a mystery. Now, all those I think they're logs, these files that say Facebook on them, it's safe to just delete them all. Is that correct?
I guess, but I don't think it's necessary either.
Okay.
So don't go digging too deep. You might break something.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks for the call, Sandy.
Okay, bye.
So, sign out. By the way, if you ever find somebody, leaving their Facebook logged in a professional environment, you should take the opportunity to be as malicious as you can be, just to teach them a lesson. Don't stay signed into Facebook. It was amazing how many crazy things showed up on other people's Facebooks at the office.
Oh, for a while, right?
Until they remember. So they either stopped signing into Facebook at all at work, or they very much remembered to log out.
Or they went home and signed on to Facebook. Oh, crap. I forgot to log out of Facebook at the office.
Oh, man. Those were the days back when we used to have fun at work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Putting different screensavers on people's machines.
Right.
Turn it upside down, screen upside down or something like that.
Yeah, there were all kinds of things that would make your friends question if they really knew you. Because there would be just all kinds of proclamations.
Yeah.
It was fun. All right, so I got to take a moment to mention my sponsor, which is Perfection Auto Works. You can check out their new website, perfectionautoworks.com. Go give them a visit. They're very nice people, and you can get a 26-point inspection for free. It is getting very, very warm, and your car needs some love before it has to experience the hell that is Tucson summer. It is rough. So you'll get your car checked out, get your inspection, maybe get some new brakes, ones that don't make any noise whatsoever, no dust. Isn't that nice? Anyway, perfectionautoworks.com. Check them out. Listen to their ad that's coming up next, and we'll be right back.
Computer troubles? Need some advice? Call in now. Mike Swanson will be back after these messages. The Computer Guru Show, AM 1030, KVOY, The Voice. Your technology guru, Mike Swanson, is answering all your questions one by one.
Yes, science!
So chime in with yours. The website is gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show.
Welcome back to the Computer Guru Show. My name is Mike, here to deal with your technology needs and treat you like a person in the process. Several years ago, we started talking about a new law that was going into place to deal with hackers. And it was something that I came out against, actually. And people gave me a bunch of grief about it, saying, well, why would you be against that? Well, it's because this particular law, which is the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, had these really sort of vague and broad definitions about what it really was. As an example, it's vague enough that if you were to log into your cell phone or root your cell phone, which is the example I used originally, rooting your cell phone, meaning that you have given yourself full access to the phone rather than it being in a locked state, which is legal, technically violates the CFAA and could put you in trouble with the federal government, with the FBI, because you've modified or gained access to something that you initially did not have access to. And an even more sort of absurd example, if you were to forget your password to a server, your own server that you owned, that you didn't have a password reset mechanism, but you were to try a number of times and eventually figure it out, or use some sort of like a brute force hacking tool to determine the password, that you were in violation of this particular law and could be jailed for it. Or if you were to purchase a piece of software, as an example, a lot of people set passwords on like QuickBooks files or Excel files or Word documents, and they forget the password. And you can go out and download a piece of software that will crack that password and give you access to that document again. Now, even if this document is yours on your computer, running the software technically is a violation of the CFAA, which is one of the reasons that I initially came out against it. And there are a couple of interesting little facts about this particular law. One of the first people to be charged under this law, or actually the law was created in response to, was a person that basically gained access to a bunch of research materials online, but didn't actually hack anything, right? They were just available, so he made copies of them for himself, and basically he was thrown in federal prison. And that particular person killed themselves in prison. They couldn't handle it. There were the very, very overzealous prosecution going on, and they just couldn't handle it. So they offed themselves. And this particular person's name is Aaron Schwartz, by the way. And it was a big deal in the tech industry for a while, because he'd been held in federal prison for a long time while they crafted the law without technically being charged, because he upset a company. And that's my real problem with the CFAA, is it doesn't protect people who are trying to protect others. In the example that we're going to use today is there was an IT guy who was also a software researcher that discovered that there was this kind of weakness in this dental software. So and by the way, it's a huge piece of dental software. If you go to a dentist, it's very likely they use this piece of software. It's big, and as an IT person that has several dental clients, I will say that they all use this particular piece of software. But so the guy wakes up at 6:30 in the morning, and there's banging on his door and red and blue lights, and the FBI comes and arrests him, and it all stemmed from the fact that he was looking into this software some problem that he had with the software with one of his clients and discovered that they used hard-coded usernames and passwords to an anonymous FTP site. All right, so which isn't terribly uncommon. You can have an anonymous FTP site that accepts usernames and passwords and takes you to somewhere else. But it pointed back to an anonymous FTP server, and he went and looked at that FTP server and discovered 22,000 basically patients with their records out there on the public internet, just hanging. No security, no usernames, no passwords, just all their information, social security numbers, credit cards that they had used, names, dates of birth, all of the stuff that you would need to have a great time as an identity thief. So this information, he found it out there and then started contacting the software manufacturer and saying, hey, this stuff is out here. And they never got back to him. And so he tried for a number of months to get in touch with them, and nothing worked. So he eventually went to databreaches.net. Now, databreaches.net is a website that is all about finding information or aggregating this information that's out there, and then they do the work of trying to notify the manufacturers, trying to get it all taken care of, and then eventually tracking the failure and reporting upon it. So databreaches.net also tried to get in touch with the software manufacturer, and they eventually did. And the software manufacturer took the information down, made sure that it was hidden. But if you go back to there's all kinds of sites that show you snapshots of things on the internet as they once were. And it turns out that patient data had been there since 2009. So it had been hanging out there for years and getting updated, by the way, because the software apparently was dumping the information, the updates, into a public folder. Just hanging out there. And so eventually, data breaches found out that, information had been secured, everything's good. Let's go ahead and report that this actually happened, because people need to know, especially if, your information happened to be one of the ones that was out there just hanging out. So eventually, this guy and databreaches.net released the story, and they said, okay, now that all the information's hidden, we're going to go ahead and say what we found, and so that other people can learn from this mistake, and also if you happen to be a victim of this, you can make sure that your information is safe. Well, the company that makes the software was none too pleased and decided to file federal charges with the CFAA for exceeding authorized access, which is one of the ones that we complained about, where you've gained access to something that had no security. And so basically, dude ended up getting arrested. They seized all of his computers, and now he's fighting this particular thing. And it's ridiculous that a law can be basically a tool of an unhappy company for exposing their weakness. And that's the problem I have with it, is that it's not about protecting. They say the law is to protect everyone, right? Protect your user data, to give some type of teeth to the law enforcement that says, well, you hacked this, so you're in trouble. But the way that everything is written is this dude did all the right steps. He did everything the way he was supposed to do it. He stumbled across something that was an obvious oversight on the part of the software manufacturer, reported it to them, and then reported it upward, which is what you're supposed to do in this industry. I mean, there is no manual, but our sort of code of conduct is if we find something that is an egregious act, right? It's just this terrible oversight of security, we're supposed to report it. I had a guy threaten to physically harm me because I was just at my doctor's office, and I was just chilling in the lobby waiting for my appointment, and I turned on my tablet, and there's Wi-Fi networks, and there's one that's open. And so it's like, I wonder what that's about. So I clicked on this open network, and all of this dude's network data is there, unsecured, no passwords. And there's a guy across the street. So while I'm waiting, I walk across the street and I'm like, hey, man, you should know your Wi-Fi network's open and unprotected, and apparently you have no network security. And the dude got really irate with me, like I was hacking his stuff. And I'm like, I'm just telling you it's here, right? I didn't have to come tell you. I didn't have to come here and say, all you got to do is assign a password here and you won't have this problem. Not to mention, I'm not going to hack your stuff, right? But somebody else might be, right? It's open Wi-Fi on a busy street. Come on. And he got mad at me. So there's a certain amount of shoot the messenger going on here.
Hey, you're just trying to do the right thing.
Right. I didn't have to tell him.
Yeah.
Right. I could have just gone in there and changed his Wi-Fi password on him.
Oh, my.
But I didn't. I just went to go tell him. And he just lost his mind. I mean, I truly feared that I was going to be physically assaulted because I told this dude his Wi-Fi network was open.
Oh, my gosh.
And so I had to stop being nice about that. It's just, no, I don't care.
You're like, dude, just saying.
Yep.
Just saying.
You go ahead and lose all your data.
Bye now.
You go on, or you go ahead and let people use your Wi-Fi, and then you get charged with something.
Wow.
Whatever. I'm not being nice to you anymore. All right, let's talk to Greg. Hey, Greg, how are you?
It comes under the heading of no good deed goes unpunished.
That's true.
When Erica Rodriguez came to me and told me she was charged with computer fraud, this is some months ago, I looked into the case because what had happened was a friend of hers had $100 left on his food stamp card and he needed cash. And she said, "Well, I'll give you $50 for the $100 in food stamps that's left." Well, he then reported the card stolen, and Erica was assigned a public defender who did zero investigation. I looked into it and found a witness who could attest to the fact that not only did the guy give Erica the card, but he had to provide the PIN so she could buy the $100 in food. So when I wrote a letter to the attorney from the public defender's office and explained all this and said there's a witness available, the attorney did nothing except go to the judge and say that Greg Shannon's getting involved with my client and giving her advice, and the judge issued an order saying I could no longer talk to the client. So the girl was let off to jail and might be sentenced to prison. And it comes under the heading of mens rea, MENSREA, which is what's the state of mind. Classic example, well, you gave one in terms of that fellow who went to federal prison. He didn't know that he was committing what was technically a crime. And some states are trying to initiate legislation, Mike, that basically says intent. The element of intent has to be established by the prosecution in order to convict somebody. And we're not that state yet, but maybe I'll talk to a legislator that'll help get that enacted.
Yeah, and the thing about intent is, that's one of those things. It's like, well, how do you prove intent, really? But yeah, I think that there needs to be something more than you gained access to, even if by accident,
right?
Someplace that's on the internet, because the internet there's a lot of cul-de-sacs, right? There's a lot of places you can just stumble upon, and not maliciously. And it's really a shame that people are going to end up like this particular guy. He's going to end up with this gigantic legal bill, and he's fighting the federal government in this particular case, all for trying to protect HIPAA violations, right? Or all trying to report a HIPAA violation by a software that is designed for medical offices, and they were just not doing what they were supposed to do. So, in effect, for him reporting this failure to protect the personal identity of 22,000 people, he ends up having to go through this battle and get arrested in front of his children. It's ridiculous.
Well, how about walking across the street to tell this fellow I'm over at the doctor's office and your whole thing is unprotected here, and you'd expect maybe a thank you, and instead the guy wants to hit you. I mean, it's unbelievable,
Yeah, I imagine, the only thing that made sense in my mind is like 14 other people told him that day, and he was just tired of hearing it.
Yeah.
But,
all right, I'll see you. I know you got a break coming, so I will talk to you soon, Mike.
Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know why the dude was so angry, but it's some people get mad. Some people they don't know how to take it when somebody says, "Hey, I'm trying to help you out here. Protect yourself." We'll be right back.
Your computer guru, Mike Swanson, is here to help you tame that beast of a machine. Join the chat right now at gurushow.com or call in. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOY, The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show on KVOI, The Voice.
All right, Ken, I got a question for you. So, what do you think would happen if I were to take one of my vehicles and, a computer guru vehicle and make it look like a cop car? How long do you think that I could get away with that before it really became a problem?
Here in Tucson?
Yeah.
It could take a while.
All right, anywhere.
Yeah, there would probably be harsh penalties for that, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably, I think that just like with the last thing that we were talking about with a law that is basically says you're not allowed to gain access to something you're not allowed to have access to. I mean, that seems like a very one-sided thing, considering we know that there's hacking going on in the other direction, right? Whereas the government is hacking us. But it's interesting that the whole being able to impersonate a cop car is no bueno, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get in trouble. But in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Police Department dressed up one of their cars as a Google Maps vehicle in order to use something called ALPR, the automated license plate reading. And and it's very controversial. And as you know, I'm one of those people that is not about lots of data. I don't like data being out there, especially data that can be used to do whatever, right? You can just connect the dots however you like. This automated license plate reading software is capable of capturing the GPS location and basically do record searches on thousands of license plates per minute as it's driving around.
Randomly.
Just every license plate it sees, takes a picture of, runs the plate, tags it as far as where it was last seen.
So where's the probable cause?
Where is the probable cause, right? Because I'm sure that most of these people are not under investigation.
Wouldn't you think that get thrown out right away? It's like, okay, they found something, and they pursued it, goes to court, judge says, you had no PC.
Yeah, well...
One would think.
And that's sort of a side point of this. But dressing your car up like a Google Maps car, just to make everybody feel a little bit safer around you, that's not very nice. And Google's like, yeah, we're looking into this. And so
our attorneys are looking into this.
And that brings me to something else, like Uber, as an example. All right, we talked about in this last one about a dental office that didn't keep the records and information of people safe. And we all know that when Guru runs for president, right, there's going to be a 2-year hard limit on digital data, right? At maximum, you can keep digital data for 2 years. If you need something to stay longer, analog, you get to pay for the storage space, right, to be able to, and the staffing in order to go read stuff. Oh, no, you can't go scanning that back in either if it's older than 2 years old. It stays analog for the rest of its time on the planet. Anyway, that dental software wasn't keeping the records of people safe. And they had this information. They were putting it out there on the internet. Anybody could have gotten it, and that's a problem. All right, the same thing with the Philadelphia Police Department and all of the other places that are using the automated license plate readers. I think I've seen them here, actually. Where is this data going? How long is it retained? What is it used for? And more importantly, why? Right? Why am I getting swept up in your whatever you're doing with data collection? I didn't opt into this. And so there's a reason that I wouldn't opt into it. Is that I don't trust my data being in anybody else's hands. Well, let's take a look at Uber as an example. Everybody knows who Uber is. They're like a cab software sort of, or platform where people get to effectively become cab drivers. But think about the things that Uber knows about you. They know where you live. where you're going and when. They have your credit card information. They can, given enough time, especially if you use it often, can put together a pretty reasonable story of who you are. Right? Just based on travel habits, time of, and times and, all kinds of different factors that are out there. Uber has a ton of information about you. So what happens if somebody hacks Uber? Right? How much information do they get out of it? Now, they may not have your social security number. They may not even have your birthday. But did you sign in with Facebook? Because a lot of people do. Facebook has that. And in some cases, Facebook has your credit card information. In mine, they do. Because I use Facebook advertising. So why are we so okay with putting all this information out there, especially with all of the concerns that we've had over like NSA snooping, and we're really quick to point the finger at Google and say, well, look at all this information that Google has about us. Now, well, it's true. Google does have quite a bit of information about us. But so far, in the history of Google's, there has been no data breaches at a Google facility. Ever. And you think about this. I mean, like, there's a video you can watch on YouTube that talks about their plants, the actual server farms that Google runs. And they talk about the security that is involved with those buildings. They even show you some of the security that's involved with getting into a Google data center. It is layers upon layers of massive security. And we're not even messing around here. I mean, they've got biometric readers, and there's thermal information. There's these rotating cylindrical doors there's locks basically where you can't. There's Sally doors, right, where you can go into one area but you can't proceed into the next till the other one behind you is closed, and you meet all this criteria. And there's 9 layers of security that you have to get through before you could get to any data or machine. And they say that most of the people that even work there don't have access to get into those inner layers. It's pretty impressive. But yes, Google does have a lot of information about you. And Google and Microsoft both have quite a bit of information, but they both seem rather resistant to giving up data. They're both in the same game here, where they have to keep their customers happy. And I don't know. I think that there's something not right about companies storing data for long periods of time, and we can't view their security procedures. We don't know what they do with logs, right? Who knows how much information is just in random log files, debug files that are just out there that are easy to find and recover, or you can get a hold of and get people's information out of it. That's how most flaws are discovered, by the way. Logs dumping information, and then you take a look at it and you're like, oh, I can find a way into this now. So, Guru for president some year, and we want 2 years of data to be stored at maximum anywhere. At maximum. I'm thinking that's if you have a permit, you get 2 years. Otherwise, it's like in 90 days, that stuff's gone. Nobody needs to know any of that information. Do your police work. All right, let's talk to Robin. Hey, Robin, how are you?
Hi. In keeping with the same theme you're talking about, can you recommend any decent password managers?
They're all sort of the same.
Okay.
The ones that I am okay with are LastPass and Dashlane.
Okay.
Those are both fairly decent, and they offer free versions.
You
Right.
heard of KeyPass?
KeyPass is pretty good too.
Yeah, we use that.
Is that the one you like?
Yeah.
All right, Kent says KeyPass.
Try that out.
KeyPass.
And it's free,
Yeah.
Great.
I believe.
Any thoughts on M-Secure?
On what?
It's called M-Secure.
Don't know them. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check those 3 out. Thank you so much.
All right, appreciate the call.
Thanks. Bye.
Let's go ahead and take a break, Kent. Start some music. We'll do this. There's people being noisy in the hallway. You know that, right? They're always doing that. Stop it. This is my show, not yours. Be quiet. We'll be right back.
Whether you're dealing with hardware installation or, heaven forbid, a virus,
No!
Mike Swanson is answering all your questions one by one. So call in or chat in with yours. The website, gurushow.com. Tune in, click in, and kick back. This is the Computer Guru Show on AM 1030 KVOY The Voice. Mike Swanson, your computer guru, is just a click away. Listen and watch at gurushow.com. This is the Computer Guru Show.
So, you like electric cars?
They're okay.
All right.
I don't know. I don't have a negative or positive opinion on them.
You're sort of a neutral on this?
Yeah, kind of neutral.
Well, so the last name is already taken with Tesla.
Yep.
But the first name, another company has decided to take up and make electric big rigs. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Who's that?
Nikola. It's very interesting. Do you know that the average semi truck that you see out there has a horsepower of like 500?
Yeah, I know they're pretty massive. Yeah.
Well, this particular truck that they have built, and they've got a prototype out right now, is a 6x6 electric drive motor. So there's electric motors on all wheels, and produces 2,000 horsepower, and basically 800 volt engine or motors on this thing. And the gas tank has been converted into like a compressed natural gas tank, which runs a turbine that runs a battery charger and has a range of 1,200 miles.
Wow.
So even with the full load. So it seems pretty interesting.
Wow. Okay.
So it could do some, make life a little bit better for emissions and pollutions and diesel. And
Yeah, there's enough trucks on them. I-10, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think I feel for my uncle's a truck driver.
Okay.
And I know a few, but I think that they are not long for that profession as far as that is going to be automated in a hurry.
Yeah.
I mean, they've already got a few, prototype self-driving trucks out there on the road. And I think that's one of those things that's going to change pretty quickly.
Okay.
The automation, that's one of those things. And I think the episode that we're doing like in a month, because I know next week's episode is all about useful software.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you have questions or suggestions as far as what is super useful software that everybody should have, or you just think is amazing software, you should let us know. Or if you have questions like, what should I use to do photo editing for free? We're going to come up with a bunch of those things for next week's show. Rob and I have been talking about this for a while. But there's another one that's coming up that's going to talk all about automation and why it's good and bad, but more frightening to me than anything.
Wasn't it this last week the CEO of McDonald's chimed in?
A former CEO.
Former CEO,
Yeah.
Would rather pay $35,000 for a robot than $15 an hour.
Well,
for
it
a
just
human.
makes financial sense.
Sure,
And-
and that's what I think you and I agree on this. It's just these people that just jump up and down with the signs and everything. Just absolutely demanding $15 an hour or more. You're going to be careful what you ask for.
Perhaps I'm a product of a different generation, but I remember when I had a fast food job and I made $2.35 an hour because I was making minimum wage at Burger King. That at no point did I feel like, I totally need more money than this. Except for when I got to the end of that and I was like, I'd like to make some more money, so I went and found a job that paid better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there is a certain amount of, I improved my skills, I got better at what I did, and I was worth more.
Do you think the
to an
mindset
employer.
has changed?
Yeah, I think there's an entitlement.
Entitlement, okay.
There's a certain amount of, I think kids are used to sort of getting everything handed to them.
Yeah.
And
Kind of a culture shift.
And if they complain a lot, everyone will cave into them.
Yeah.
At least where I grew up. And part of it is where, not necessarily when. But when I was growing up, that if I stepped out of line, there was some random adult there to smack me down.
I was going to say physical smack.
Or at the very least, to call me out on my BS, right? Just to be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about, and stop that. So there's a difference in culture for sure.
Sure.
As far as the way that we treat children, and I think it's showing now in the give me $15. I mean, you shouldn't be working at McDonald's if you're raising a family. That's just really how that works. I mean, McDonald's is for teenagers. Yeah, that's pretty much how that works. This is although I've seen some pretty interesting ideas about maybe there should be a student wage, right? If you're a young first-time job
first-timer,
market,
exactly, entry level, sure.
That you get some type of a wage, and then there is I am an adult that happens to work in a profession that is mostly for first-timers, but like for managers and whatever, that they make more money or have a way to support themselves. But I think what's missing is the lack of determination and drive to better oneself to deserve more money, and it's unfortunate and sad. It's more like somebody owes me something rather than I can do something to make my own life better.
It's like those people just disappeared, or they just went away, or what? I mean, there's like you and I, when we grow up, like you said, we found a better paying job, increased our skills, or what have you. But nowadays, are those people just gone? It seems like they're gone.
I don't know.
It's weird to me.
I'm not sure where that all happens.
Yeah,
but
I can't put my finger on it either. Thought I'd just throw it out there.
It just reminds me that I'm getting old.
Well, yeah, you and me both.
I'm turning into that dude that says, "Back in my day," right?
Walk to school.
Yeah, uphill both ways in the
snow.
Yeah, snow here.
Yeah, well.
All right, let's take a moment to mention the sponsors. We've got Perfection Auto Works, who is very nice and helps us pay some of the bills here for the show. In case you didn't know, this show is out of pocket. I do not get paid to do this show. Basically, it's the other way around. I pay the radio station to use this little room and have Kent's smiling face on the other side of this glass, and have this broadcast out into the world. So if you'd like to help me pay for the show, you can. You can go to patreon.com/Guru Show or go to gurushow.com. And there's a link where you can go to the Patreon page and support this show with as little as $1 a month if you can. One of the other ways that you can support us is that you can go to the YouTube page and subscribe to us there. We're trying to get enough subscribers so that hopefully the show can be monetized. Rob is taking excerpts of previous shows and turning them into little micro episodes where you get to hear me lose my mind every so often, because it happens. Also, if you are a Patreon supporter and you want to make Tara say anything that you want with a sufficient donation, that can happen. Or you can get a weekly mention, like Desert Pro Commercial Cleaners. They're wonderful, and they've been taking care of us for a long time. They don't cut corners, they clean them. And it's true, all of the corners over at Harrison are clean. So go to their website. The link will be in the description. And we really appreciate their support and your listenership. Come visit us at 510 East Fort Lowell or 64 North Harrison, or give us a call at 304-8300, or visit the website at azcomputerguru.com. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Computer Guru Show. If you did, please consider sharing it with your friends and subscribing to this channel if you haven't already. Your subscription helps us reach new audiences and expand the show in new directions. Please also consider supporting us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help the Computer Guru Show expand into a longer format, as well as support the production of new content for this channel. Links are in the description below, and thank you again. We'll see you next week.